G'day viewers. In this segment I'll tell you about explicit congestion notification. So our topic is how routers can help hosts to avoid congestion. We've talked about the network layer needing to work together with the transport layer to avoid congestion and come up with a reasonable bandwidth allocation. So far routers have been helping by, well, dropping packets, which is not very helpful. It's some kind of signal, but it's a little bit implicit. With explicit congestion notification, routers are going to send an explicit signal to hosts saying that there is congestion. And this is a kind of congestion control or a form of support for avoiding congestion, which is being rolled out, deployed in the internet today. So mostly this is a mechanism that's not used yet, even though it's been around for a long time. And its time is coming as it's deployed more and more. So to understand why explicit congestion notification is useful, let's consider the difference between congestion avoidance and congestion control. If you think about it, with classic TCP, actually it's not avoiding congestion. The way it finds out where to set the congestion window is TCP really, by increasing the congestion window, drives the network into congestion. Then it does a pretty good job of recovering. So TCP is actually causing congestion, and it has to do this because it needs to seek some kind of loss, which only comes through congestion, to know when to slow down. Okay, I mean it works pretty well, but you know, if you want to build a good network with low delay and low loss and whatever, wouldn't it be better to actually avoid congestion? This is what we would like to do. We would get better performance, low levels of loss, lower levels of delay, you know, while still getting the high throughput. We just need to find a way to do this. This is the real question. How can we do this? With classic TCP and routers providing packet loss signals, we really couldn't do this very well. Well, maybe there are options. With explicit congestion notification, we're going to build supporting to routers to help us avoid congestion. And this will get us to a better place. This is something that's going on in the internet. So to just understand a little bit about how routers could help, I want to remind you of this slide from the beginning, almost, of when we talked about congestion. We talked about the network providing feedback virus. The first one today, well, most forms of TCP interpret packet loss as congestion. Don't try that on the damage. Packet delay is approach some kind of curly delay, congestion with this packet plurals, so long. So this mechanism whereby routers provide congestion indication is called explicit congestion notification, or ECN. The idea is, it's fairly straightforward. The idea is that the router is going to detect the onset of congestion by monitoring its queue. Instantaneous queue size can fluctuate a lot, just like our RTT data could fluctuate a lot. So the router can use some kind of moving average over it to get an estimate of the average queuing time. That should be near zero. If that begins to go up, it means that a persistent queue is beginning to build and we might be getting near congestion. When this happens, the router here will know that, you know, we're near the point of congestion, and it will then mark the packets that are going through it which are experiencing congestion. Marking is simply turning a bit on the IP header. So it's just flipping a bit is marking it. Now there were some bits in the IP header, if you go back and look at them, which are used to do this, the ECN bits. Now when a host receives this packet, when it goes through the network and arrives at the host will know that it has been marked, and it will know that that packet experienced congestion. What the receiver will do is host receives this packet when it goes through the network and arrives at the host will know that it has been marked, and it will know that that packet experienced congestion. What the receiver will do is it will say, well, there's congestion. I need to tell the sender about it, because congestion, previously we detected it with a packet loss. Here marked will be considered to be the equivalent of having lost a packet. It's just we're hearing about it ahead of time. What the receiver will do then is that it will send this congestion signal back to the sender. Now, actually the congestion notification is carried on the IP layers because it has to be done in the network, so it's a network layer protocol. When the mark arrives at the receiver, this information is passed up to the TCP layer, because it's the TCP layer, the transport, which will need to respond to congestion and interpret these marks and do something about it. So at the TCP level, in packets that are going in the other direction, ACKs and so forth, we will send this congestion signal back to the sender. And the sender here, I'm just going to write sender and receiver. The sender here will get that congestion notification. If there'd been an actual loss, it would have worked out from the ACK stream that there was a loss. Instead, there's another side channel whereby it gets these congestion notifications, but it treats them as equivalent as a loss in that it will half its congestion window and do all of the slowing down and so forth. So TCP really doesn't need to do anything new with explicit congestion indications. It just needs to treat them as loss. And with that, we're pretty much done with ECM.
C'est bon, فهمت.
شو les avantages خلي باش كنصير سقسيك